Mother's Day is coming up, and let's just remind people, you don't hurt my feelings when you say dog moms aren't real moms. That's your definition of mom, and I can't take that away from you. But to me, moms are human moms, plant moms, dog moms.
You wrote one critique of the party that I kind of underlined in the book, and I want to ask you a little bit about what exactly you meant by that. The continued speech and policies against men have not been without consequences. If men are forced to choose between picking their party or keeping their balls, most men are going to choose their balls. What did you mean by that? What were you thinking of?
It just means that, if people begin to get perceived as being anti-men, and then that explains why people turn to and they use phrases like bros or the manosphere, and they make it seem like that. So I think there's been a disconnection.
So it's more how they talk about it than specific policies?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just this idea and just being perceived as more anti-man or, cancel culture, and just realizing that I think that's undeniable. And it's just a lot different kinds of energy that comes out from, and I think that's why a lot of the men have chosen to walk away from the Democratic Party, and we have to figure out why.
I don't follow American domestic politics too much, but one thing I do know is that many Democrats see Senator John Fetterman from Pennsylvania as a quote-unquote turncoat because he's a dino, a Democrat in name only, and for most intents and purposes, he votes Republican. But the conversation he's having here is pretty much on point. If you're telling guys that there is only a correct way to be a man, and that way of being man is not to their really identity or liking, you're going to get guys trying to find another answer besides changing their masculinity to one that is deemed socially acceptable. And what is the socially acceptable masculinity that I'm speaking of?
Happy Mother's Day to all the women who have chosen to be child-free. Yeah, this day can feel like a giant celebration of everyone but you, like your decision not to become a breeder somehow disqualifies you from recognition or love or brunch reservations. Rude.
I have now gotten to the level of maturity to where I can understand why Kevin Samuels was a real villain. As a tall man wearing very exotic suits, his job was to tell young women what they wanted to hear and make them feel good. And if you do that, that's the first step to being a man properly. That you should never commit the cardinal sin of telling young ladies things that don't make them feel good. And so how do you be a good liberal man? This is exactly how you do it.
Yeah, this day can feel like a giant celebration of everyone but you, like your decision not to become a breeder somehow disqualifies you from recognition or love or brunch reservations. Rude. So let me remind you, you do not owe the world a baby. You are not less than because you opted out of the diaper blowouts, the sleepless nights, the passive-aggressive Facebook parent groups, or the existential dread of raising a kid in a collapsing world. Your worth isn't measured by how well you reproduce or how well you support people who do. Society loves to define women by who they are to others, and that is complete bullshit. You don't need to be a fun aunt, a perfect daughter, a loyal dog mom, or the emotional glue of every group chat to earn your value. You are worthy just as you are. Whether your reasons are ethical, environmental, financial, logistical, deeply personal, or simply just because you don't wanna, you made a choice. And that choice is powerful, radical, and punk rock. It takes courage to swim against the cultural current and your own biology screaming, baby, now. So today, take up space. Celebrate yourself. Buy yourself flowers. Take yourself out to brunch with other child-free babes. Or sleep in and do absolutely nothing because no one's calling you mom at 6 a.m. You deserve to be honored, and not just today.
So you can see the direction that Mother's Day is heading in, and you're going to see more of that in this video. It's headed to a place where it's inclusive in that you can't just say mothers of humans. You're going to have to include all kinds of other quote-unquote mothers. And him referring to mothers as breeders is the opening salvo to that. The idea that any choice that you make, you're awesome, you're amazing, you're strong for making that choice, you deserve to be you, good to you, fantastic, you live in your truth. That is a one gender identity. As men, we are judged by what we produce, what we do, the things that we make happen, our outcomes. But imagine if we had the ability to make any decision, any choice we wanted, and we had people on the internet telling us how powerful we were for making the decisions that we made, and even calling us successful men, even if we had never created success. Because how are you a mother if you've never had a child? I can understand being a dog owner, and you can call that owner a dog mom if you want to, but biology says that the dog's mother is another dog that delivered that young puppy. Are we supposed to celebrate mother dogs on Mother's Day too? Because that's the next evolution of being inclusive. Having a celebration not just for the person that's raising the dog, but a celebration for the dog that had the dog that the human is raising. And so you can see how many permutations this is headed in. But then again, in a world where one gender, any decision they make is powerful and amazing and self-affirming, it's just going to go in that direction.
Happy Mother's Day to all the human and dog moms. We love you all so much. I just wanted to show you guys what I do for Lucy on the weekends sometimes. I make her a little special breakfast bowl. So I just do some eggs and cheese, a piece of fruit that she can have, and a little bit of yogurt. So, and then we share, but like I make my own plate. This is what it looks like. Look what mommy has for you.
Buddy, happy Mother's Day to me. Thank you, boy. Thank you for making me a dog mom.
Single income, dog mom, no kids, never married, living in Florida, my best life, flight attendant. I can travel all around the world if I want to.
Happy Mother's Day to all the dog mums, especially all the solo dog mums. Keeping this thing alive and meeting his needs every day. I mean, he's still a puppy, but he just has no off switch. It's not easy being your mummy, huh? So to all the single dog mamas, I see you. And happy Mother's Day.
Dog moms deserve to celebrate Mother's Day too, and apparently that is a giant hot take, but it's really not that serious. If you have a problem with someone celebrating their pets, keeping them alive, keeping them breathing, celebrating Mother's Day, I'm sorry, but you might be the problem. Of course, pets and children are completely different and require completely different needs and things like that, but dogs are humans too, and we keep them alive every single day.
You don't need kids to celebrate Mother's Day. Dog moms are moms too, and they deserve to celebrate Mother's Day. And haven't gotten a gift for your favorite dog mom? We have the sweatshirts for you. We developed this line specifically for the dog mom. You can make them the dog mom of the year, or what everyone aspires to be in this life, the stay-at-home dog mom.
And for everyone who's like, oh, having a dog doesn't make you a mom, Mother's Day isn't for you, pet parents aren't real parents, da-da-da-da. Oh, really? Well, if that's the case, then how do you explain this? Okay. Like, hello? If I'm not a mom, then why do I have ultrasounds from when I was pregnant with my child?
Even Essence chose to chime in on the Mother's Day dog mom debate with their article, How Being a Dog Mom is Offering Black Women an Alternative Motherhood. The realization that I wanted to be a mother and that motherhood in this world might be one of the worst things I could ever subject myself to hit me within seconds of each other. There are so many aspects of raising a child that seem beautiful and hellish, all rolled into one. Them calling out mommy when they need something, calling for you when your nerves are already fried and you just want to be left alone. They're always there. And also, they're always there. The more I grow and mature, the more I sit with a harder truth. Sometimes what I really want and what I actually have the capacity to do are worlds apart.
Happy Mother's Day. On this, my third and final video on this day, I want to pay homage to a group of women who will rewrite the story of motherhood.
If I'm honest, there are so many elements that break my heart when I think of being a black mother to a black child in this world. I don't want to be tasked with teaching another human being, let alone an innocent child, how to make peace with being mistreated and abused. I don't want to be tasked with teaching a child how to protect their sanity when I quite literally am still trying to figure out how to hold on to my own. The more I thought about it, the more it felt like the kindest thing I could do for my hypothetical children, who somehow I already love so deeply, was to spare them from this experience altogether. And as someone diagnosed with ADHD later in life, I'm still learning how to care for myself and live in alignment with my brain. Many days I feel like I'm my own child. So where does that leave motherhood?
And so today, finally, I'd like to say thank you to the women who have chosen not to become mothers. I want to say good for you. Not because motherhood is bad, but because choice matters. Your decision may and will confuse people.
Demure speaks of her family life with her 2 miniature schnauzers, King Pharaoh 12 and Prince 2, that are fully integrated into her family life, complete with meal-prepped feast and their own room in the home. I'm much more in tune with the responsibility that comes with providing and loving and nourishing, says Demure. It means something different to me at this stage in life. She continues, as Black women, we are constantly having to save any and everything, says Demure. The community, the culture, the world. We're constantly stepping in where systems fall short. So extending that nurturing and protection to animals is not far from who we've always been to the world, she says.
Your decision may and will confuse people, disturb some families, start uncomfortable conversations at weddings and family dinners. In fact, today, uliulizwa unangoja nini? Tafuta kamutu uzae kamoja tu. But history will understand you better than the present does. So shikilieni. Because every society eventually reaches a point where it must ask itself these questions. Why has motherhood been treated like invisible labor for so long? Why do we romanticize caregiving while exhausting the people doing it and ignoring them? Why do governments, workplaces, even marriages benefit from mothers without properly supporting them or compensating them? Women who opt out force society to confront these questions, and it will be uncomfortable for a long time. And perhaps because of the choice you've made, future generations of mothers will finally receive better support, better systems, better policies, better understanding. You may not realize it yet. You might have made a decision because you are exhausted even thinking about motherhood. And we get you. We're in it. But you are a part of the conversation that will reshape motherhood itself forever. For the world, for this continent, and for Kenya. And honestly, that matters. So on this Mother's Day, I truly believe that every mother stands with you for choosing not to be a mother and says, thank you. Thank you.
The logic featured in this video is why I believe the identity politics of the left, Democrats, liberals, whatever you want to call them, is doomed. This is a woman on Mother's Day essentially celebrating women that are choosing not to be mothers, saying that them choosing not to be mothers is going to benefit mothers in the future because motherhood is undervalued. But it is not speaking to the fact that these women that are not having children are not going to be mothers, so they're going to be different mothers, and they're probably going to have a different way of thinking than you do because they chose to have kids. And so it's just a vicious cycle that's kind of feeding on itself. If the super liberal young ladies are not having children, then guess who are having children? The conservative women. It's the kind of logic that makes me kind of scratch my head because it's okay to feel good, and I don't have anything against having pets, having dogs or cats, whatever, but a cat is never going to carry your name, or your cat is never going to vote. I don't believe your cat can take your inheritance and do something with it. Maybe they'll change something in the future, but as things stand now, the cat's going to be a cat when you're here, and it's going to be a dog or cat when you're gone. The logic in this video shows exactly the issue with inclusion. If you keep including and keep including, then you lose the meaning of, in this case, mother. You don't have to be a birth mother to be a mother. You can adopt, you can do many other things, but you do have to sacrifice something. But if you're including women that didn't sacrifice anything, then you're essentially telling the women that went through labor or went through the difficulty of surrogacy or adopting a kid that maybe they took a chance on and they grew to love or whatever, that sacrifice is menial because you chose to do it. And we should celebrate the young ladies that also chose not to do it on Mother's Day. And so what is the future of that kind of thinking? Well, when you look at John Fetterman, he's essentially telling you, whatever the future is, I'm going to go and stand on this other side over here because at least they have a set of rules that maybe I don't agree with all of them, but it's better than what I'm coming from. And so if you're trying to define motherhood by including non-mothers, people that own pets, people that chose not to have kids, people that don't like kids at all, then you're essentially saying that motherhood is not motherhood. And that's the same problem you have with masculinity when you tell men, no, this is the right way to man, and I don't like the way that you're being a man. And so let's include all of these things under the umbrella of masculinity and manhood, and to the point you get where none of it's masculinity at all, and you're celebrating anything and everything. And so it means everything and nothing. As a kid, I would have never been able to imagine opening my smartphone on Mother's Day and hearing people refer to mothers as breeders and celebrating non-mothers on Mother's Day. But that's where the liberal left is today. And when they are telling people that masculinity is bad and evil and is terrible, essentially they're saying that we don't know what masculinity is, but we just don't want it to be that. So we're going to redefine it the way that we want to. And if you're a man and you aren't down with that, you're looking at Mother's Day basically going to be turned into Breeder's Day and saying, I don't know what masculinity is or what I want, but I know that I don't want that. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. Catch you next video. Take care, guys.